which I think people don't know much about this part, which is longevity. I want you to define what you think you're interested in right now and the way your investment theory is going on this topic.
For longevity specifically?
For longevity specifically.
I'd say that the broader category is an interest in healthcare. And I'm interested in longevity for a bunch of reasons, but I remember once someone saying that most diseases are diseases of age. 20-year-olds don't get nearly as sick as 80-year-olds.
Sure.
And so if we can figure out the general purpose thing here, maybe we can improve healthcare outcomes across the board. I had a passing interest in longevity for a long time. And then when the partial reprogramming discoveries began to happen.
Explain what that is for people.
The idea that we could sort of rewind a cellular age a little bit, not all the way back to a stem cell, which you don't want to be turned back into goo, but we could like make your cells a little bit younger.
Right.
So that seemed like a kind of crazy, exciting discovery. And I ended up making a large investment in a company called Retro to pursue that.
And where did it come from? Where did this interest? Was it you wanted to live longer, or what was or you were interested in sci-fi, or what?
I think kind of all of the above. I was, as I mentioned, like really interested in healthcare. And is there like I think my whole kind of approach to startups and technology is, can we identify like the crux issue for something? And then for healthcare, if we could truly keep you, health-wise younger for much longer, that would address a lot of the health issues. And so rather than like kind of try to like fight disease after disease and problem after problem, maybe this was like, the Gordian knot we could cut through.
So the idea is most of the costs come at the end of your life in healthcare. At this
most of the costs, but also just most of like the degradations in quality of life.
Right, and living badly, essentially.
Yeah.
Were you yourself scared of that? Because there is this sort of trope of, you realize the trope of Silicon Valley guys wanting to live forever, narcissism, et cetera. And there's a lot of examples of that. You can see Brian Johnson, whatever. All of it is vaguely selfish and sci-fi inspired in some fashion, of becoming a robot, becoming a cyborg, et cetera. That's not your...
At least not consciously, no. I don't like...
So you admit it.
Yeah. By the way, I don't think a technology like Retro will make you live forever.
No, that's correct.
Like,
so
I think you'll be healthier for longer, and then a very steep...
So you just have healthier for longer, not live forever.
I definitely don't want to get, really sick for a long time.
So explain what Retro's doing and why you picked that particular company, because there's lots of people sort of hitting this from...
There are a lot of things now. At the time, there were not as many. This broad area of partial reprogramming seemed to me like the kind of thing that looked incredibly promising in the lab, was one of the few approaches that I thought could really work like across a whole person, and seemed worth pursuing. I have become increasingly negative on the ability for academia to make things happen. I think academia is still really great at some things, early discovery, but it's like, all right, if we really want to like take this idea and maybe make it into something that can really help people, maybe a startup is a good idea.
Right, which spoken like a true Silicon Valley person.
I have my bias, obviously, but sometimes it works.
Space travel, everything.
Sometimes it works. The goal is add 10 years of health span. So, maybe it doesn't keep you alive any longer at all, but you're healthier for longer. And the approach that I am personally most excited about is give you some proteins, some RNA or DNA that will express those proteins, whatever it is, but somehow do something to your cells that will partially reprogram them back to a younger state.
A lot of people we've talked to are all pointing to AI as an important tool in whether it's cancer research, whether it's all kinds of whoever's approaching these things. Talk a little bit about the role that something like OpenAI and AI in general will have.
Healthcare is one of the biggest uses of ChatGPT. And with GPT-5, we made a big push to improve it for healthcare. People use it to understand their health all the time. They upload their medical records, they ask it questions about symptoms. You can read a lot of stories on the internet about people using this in super important ways, and obviously we think that's great. So with GPT-5, we did a big push to make it better at health